Hi guys, welcome back to the Drive Life channel and welcome to a video that I've been so excited to bring you guys. I just want to say a huge thank you to Keith Price Garages for making it happen, but also a subscriber called William who let me know that Keith Price had this car in stock. Now this, if you haven't noticed already, isn't a S80 D5, this is an S80 V8. A very, very special car indeed, and yeah, that badge is what makes all the difference. So we'll be giving you a full mega review. We're going to take it out for a drive, and also we're going to give a nice in-depth tour of the car itself in this wonderful location here. Talk about all its quirks and everything. Now, unfortunately, this car is sold. Not to me, I'm afraid, but to a very, very lucky person who has bought it from Keith Price Garages. And I think you'll see this car is just an absolute masterpiece. And this one in particular is probably the best condition S80 I've ever seen. It's the executive with the 4.4 litre V8, and it's only got 37,500 miles. So without further ado, let's get straight into this video. So like I said, the thing that really sets this car apart, well, there's two things that really set this car apart. The first is the powertrain. Now, this 4.4 litre V8 was designed by Volvo in conjunction with Yamaha, built in Japan, transversely mounted, absolute work of art. And actually, really interestingly, whereas most V8s are sort of on a 90-degree angle like that, this is done on a 60-degree angle, so it's much tighter, and that's so they can fit it transversely. Let's take a look at that engine, because this really is one of the party pieces of this car. So here we are, the heart of the beast, the 4.4 litre Yamaha V8, and I'll just let you take a minute to just be in its presence. This thing is an absolute beast. Like I said, it's built in Japan. It was only ever used on two Volvo models, the S80 and the XC90. Produces around 315 horsepower. MPG wise, you don't really want to know. We'll go through that in the drive video, but it is truly an absolute work of art and an extremely rare option on these S80s. I think I've read a stat recently that 100 of these left in the UK, these V8 S80s, and as soon as they come up for sale, they're snapped up very quickly indeed. This one was listed at £13,500, testament to its sort of extremely high spec, but also its condition and low mileage. This thing is like a new car. But it's a new car that you can't buy anymore and is extremely rare. So well worth the money in my opinion. And I'm very not jealous of the new owner, because obviously I'm very happy for them. But there's part of me that wishes I had the money to snap this thing up before it went. But yeah, so a very, very interesting engine. Now, for those who don't know, this is the B8 444S engine, and that stands for benzene, which is petrol, 8 for 8 cylinders, 4.4, which is the 2 of the 4s, 4 valves per cylinder, and then S for suction, as it's a naturally aspirated V8. You just don't find engines like this in cars nowadays. They just can't make them. They can't make them for environmental purposes. They can't make them because of cost. They definitely can't shoehorn it transversely into the front of a Volvo saloon car anymore. So this really is a car that we're never going to see again. It really is. It's just a work of art. Let me take you inside, because although this engine's special, the inside of the car is almost even more special. So let's not forget, this is 2008, and this car has keyless entry. And as you can see, you know I love my chrome. Beautiful condition, the chrome on this car, absolutely stunning. And these turbine wheels as well, which I believe, are they 18-inch? Yeah, 18-inch. As you can see, these ones are in immaculate condition. They're all like that. They've all got lovely P0 tyres on. But let's just take a minute to appreciate this interior. We'll start off with the door panel, as we always do. Beautiful varnished wood inlays, lovely cream door cards, and then interestingly this black door surround. Now this car, a lot of Volvo S80s came with a full cream interior, but this has got a hybrid of the two. We've got a wonderful Dolby premium sound system as well, and even in the door shuts here you can really see just how well looked after this car has been. I mean, my one's got all sorts of scuffs and that sort of thing from 128,000 miles of abuse, whereas this one, as you can see, is even got the right sticker, V8 all-wheel drive executive. This is the creme de la creme of S80s. This is the best S80 you could buy in 2008. We've got, of course, our window switches here, lock, unlock, mirrors, window switches and window lock, and obviously the lovely milled aluminium door handle here. And as we move inside, this is where the executive trim comes into its own. We've got the gorgeous 3-panelled leather seats. These ones obviously in exceptional condition and finished in cream. Obviously got 3-way adjustable seats, and then we've got the official Volvo lambswool mats, and you can understand why I'm putting this seat cover back on, because it is, sorry, the carpet cover back on, because it really is gorgeous. I mean, even the pockets, look, they don't even feel like they've been used. You can still feel the inside of the leather inside, and it still smells of leather as well. Let's sit inside. We've got this beautiful wood-rimmed steering wheel, which again is in stunning condition. I'm not even trying to sell you this car because it's already sold, but it is just, yeah, and this lovely silver line is a nice touch as well, actually. I do like that. We have obviously standard Volvo steering wheel. This obviously, my one has the newer with the aluminium inlays, but to be honest, I think this suits this car because of the fact that it's got the wood and everything like that. I think the aluminium might be a bit much. Cruise control buttons here were the same throughout the life cycle of the S80, as were obviously the volume buttons, the track skipping buttons, and also the phone if you had that option, which I think pretty much all S80s did. We've got our lovely standard dials in there, and the only thing different about this one is that it shows very low MPG numbers, but that's it. And of course, the lovely sweeping design of the dashboard here, with the Dyne Audio Authentic Fidelity sound system. We've got the Volvo RTI sat-nav here as well, of course, and then moving down into the centre console, we've got this gorgeous strip of, I think it's walnut actually, and you can see where the sun's hitting it, just how deep this wood goes. It really is gorgeous. There's no other word to describe this car. It is just gorgeous. Moving down to the centre console, then we've of course got our aluminium surround on the infotainment system. We've got all of our buttons as we'd expect, and we've got quite a few buttons because obviously it's very well spec'd. We don't have the cooled seats, but we do have heated seats. We've also got the parking assist, we've got the bendy xenon headlights, and also the rear headrest drop, which I pressed on the way here because I've never had a car with that, so it's quite cool. Obviously we've got our standard gear shifter here, standard cubby down here, including the Volvo RTI system remote, which means that your passengers can operate the sat-nav if they desire, or your rear passengers, because don't forget these were used a lot as chauffeur cars. We obviously have our usual stalks here with our rotary dial, rotary info dial, the reset button, the read button for any messages, and then obviously the indicators and main beam. We then also have our automatic wipers stalk here. Press the button to activate the wipers, or you can control it manually, up for a single wipe or different speeds for intermittent there. And then obviously our headlight controls and fuel, which will be probably flashing a lot in this thing, and the boot opening button as well, which I'll just touch now. This being such a low mileage, well preserved S80, there's such a satisfying clunk with everything on this car. And we've also got a shield bug who's come to join us, which I'm just going to remove because this probably don't want that in this car. So let's take a look then in the rear seats, because there is a very, very special option in this car, which is something I've always wanted for my S80, and that is the fridge. So we'll push this headrest back up, and you can see these seats don't look like they've ever been used. Like I said, the 3-panel leather, the executive got a higher quality leather, and that you can see is just immaculate in this car. It's got a much more sort of creamy texture to it, again with lamb's wool, the official Volvo lamb's wool seats. We've got a lovely walnut inlay here, and then as we get into the car, you can tell this is the special one. We've got heated rear seats, controls in the console here. We also have the Volvo media system in the back with the plug-in headphones, which are, I'm told, hidden away. And yes, you can see here we've got the rotary dials, heated seat controls, 12 volt as well. So it is, like I say, an absolute work of art. This being the S80, I've got my seat way back in sort of a lazy boy style today, and I've still got plenty of leg room, plenty of foot room, even more so on the passenger side because it isn't set up for an ape. And obviously we've got our rear vents here, and this whole space is just glorious. The light leather, the light headlining, the sunroof just gives you an element of space and luxury that you'd never really get in especially in my S80. We do have the optional sunglasses pod as well, which is rather nice. Goes on to the, replaces the handle for your sunglasses, because obviously drivers don't tend to need to hold on, tend to hold on to the steering wheel. And just appreciate this view here. The sun hitting the walnut inlays. Oh, just beautiful. But let's see if we can have a look at this fridge. So we'll pull down the armrest here. We have an extended sort of extra big armrest, and also we have, there we go, the cup holders slide out like that. Very, very well engineered. We'll just push this one up as well, and then in here is our fridge. So let me just swap hands with the camera. There we go. And I can attest to the fact that it's lovely and refrigerated in there. Now, if you wanted to buy this and add it to your Volvo, it's over £800 from Volvo to have this fitted. Like I said, this is the car, the ultimate Volvo. This is the car that Volvo engineers, when they grow up, they want to make. And I mean, this extra thick armrest, oh, the comfort back here is ridiculous. I mean, they built these things for the Swedish royal family. That's what they drove. So you've obviously got the extra lovely piping on the seats here. Everything is done to such a standard. The seats here, the stitching on the seats, you can just see is another level. You don't see it on standard Volvos. This, like I said, is a very, very special car indeed. Not to say that standard Volvo seats aren't well put together, but these are another level. There's only one way to describe it. Let's quickly take a look in the boot, although I'm pretty sure most of us are familiar with an S80 boot. There we go, pretty bog standard. Nice and huge. You do have a little bit of room robbed for the refrigerator here, and you can see the fan and everything there, but still enough room to fit golf clubs in. Probably a couple of sets, to be honest. Still got the original Volvo first aid kit. Got our shopping shelf here with the band, and then if we undo our latches here, we also have the full-size spare wheel with the original jack and everything like that. So you can see how well this car has been looked after. So I think what we need to do now is start this glorious engine up and see what this V8 does, because that really is the piece de resistance, as it were. I was never good at French at school, of this car. it is just, oh, it's got such a presence, this car. It really has. I think it's, mine being the R design sits slightly lower, but I think actually the higher ride height suits it. It just seems bigger. So let's set up the GoPro. Actually, let's have a look at the sunroof first, because I haven't had an S80 with a sunroof before. Obviously we've got our standard key here. This one has all of the extra information system, so you press that and you can see the key flashes green and orange to tell you that the car is unlocked with the doors open. But let's just touch the ignition on. Car comes to life and operate the sunroof. So this is our control here for the sunroof. Press it all the way back and it opens and lets the glorious Welsh sun in. You also have a shade here, which you can obviously block out any sun with. As you can see, it just works perfectly. It's so well looked after, this car. It really is stunning. And there we go. If you want to shut that sun out, then you can. So, like I said, let's set the GoPro up behind the car and get some cold start shots, because I think you guys need to hear this engine. Now, have you ever seen a more pleasurable chemical reaction of turning petrol into noise? I don't think it's possible. So let's grab the GoPro and give you guys, or take you guys for a drive in this magnificent car. I mean, it really is a bloody gorgeous thing. Let's go. Okay then, so here we are, pulling out of Keith Price with the S80 V8, and it just sounds incredible. I'm sure you guys have just seen the start up, and oh, it's just so smooth. It's absolutely unbelievable. So this car, like I said, has next to no miles on it. It's at 37,378, and unfortunately it is now sold. So for any of you that fancied it, it's gone, but oh my god, it's just beautiful. I said to Adrian just before I took it out that it would be interesting to see what a car with 100,000 less miles than mine would feel like, and it really does feel a lot different. Steering definitely feels lighter. Suspension's pretty similar, to be honest. It all feels very familiar inside, obviously, from daily driving one of these, but it's, oh, this engine, you're very aware that this engine is something special, even when you're just pootling around. And you're reminded by that by the fuel gauge telling you've got quarter of a tank and the range saying only 75 miles. I've got exactly the same amount of fuel in my D5, and that was saying about sort of 170 miles. So yeah, Adrian did warn me this thing likes to drink fuel, but yeah, what a beast. We'll take it out now onto a dual carriageway here, just so we can hear it sing, because I'm so excited to hear this V8. I think it's not the first car I've driven with a V8, but it's the first Volvo I've driven with the V8, obviously, and the whole thing about this being the executive package as well. You can see this beautiful steering wheel here. This thing is in immaculate condition. It was looked after by a professor, and allegedly there was only 2 of these sold in 2008. One went to him and one went to Sven Goran Eriksson, who was, I think, England manager at the time. So it just shows sort of the exclusivity of these things. But let's just give it a boot. Yeah, I mean, that was, I don't know if the camera will do it justice, but it pins you back in your seat. It's obviously faster than the D5. Just the noise and it's just, and you can feel that this engine suits this car perfectly. This car's an absolute hot rod with this thing. Obviously we've got the 4-wheel drive as well, so you can put the power down. Oh, I need one of these. This is just hilarious. This is brilliant. I think this, so see, Volvo offered this engine in 2 vehicles only, the XC90 and of course the S80. I've just knocked 10 miles off my range. And yeah, honestly, it's just fantastic. I think the S80 must be the one to have. That bit lighter, obviously more aerodynamic as a saloon, and just much more of a sleeper. I don't think the V90, the XC90 even has the dynamics that this car has. It's just, this thing is, this really is Volvo at its best, especially in executive trim with all the fridge and everything like that I showed you earlier. It's just awesome. Now I'm just going to have another go down this dual carriageway here, just because I think you need to hear it again. There's 40 and there's 70, just like that. That is oh wow. But then, you know, you turn the cruise control on, stick it at 65, and you've got one of the smoothest engines Volvo have ever produced. It really is a work of art. This obviously being it for this unique design, it's got the balancing shaft, and you can feel that just really smooths everything out. There really aren't that many transversely mounted V8s ever made, really. I think one other that I can really think of is a Ford Taurus, which used a Yamaha built V8, same sort of time as this, but it wasn't quite the same engine. Everyone who was involved, Yamaha, Ford and Volvo, all agree on the fact they're very different engines. But yeah, I mean, this thing just, it feels incredible. I'm not gonna lie, it's you can tell that this is a very, very special car, and that noise is just intoxicating. But I mean, it's typical S80. It just runs and runs. You've got the feeling that it will just last forever. I mean, these early V8s had an issue with the balance shaft bearing, but that's not a problem on these later ones. It was fixed in 2005, and it just, it's really weird because it feels like home, being an S80, but it feels like someone's come in and just given you a load of nice furniture and just redecorated it and made it look incredible. It just, it is awesome. I love this varnished wood. Now I have noticed it doesn't have the clock, but I'm sure we can forgive it for that because it does have a 4.4 V8 engine. Obviously, like I said, we've got all of the dynamic pro audio, that sort of thing, and it's just, this feels like a new car. Now, would I recommend buying one? Obviously, yeah. It is, well, as you heard, it is amazing. Let's take you again or another run on a dual carriageway. Just that rumble, and we're just going to roll the throttle on, feel the torque, give me a shove in the back, and just listen to that. And I'm already up to speed, and it was totally effortless. The noise is intoxicating, it really is. what a car. Now you guys won't be able to see what speed that was. It was enough. It just, I can imagine this on the Autobahn absolutely destroying most other cars. It really is that good. Just what a beast this is. It's not the most sharp feeling of vehicles. I mean, steering's direct, you can see it's pretty effective, but it lets you know that there's a lot of weight and a lot of luxury and a lot of opulence. You know, it's just epic. It really is epic. Let's find, oh, this engine is just, it's always there. It's always reminding you that you bought the one with the V8. Brakes are lovely and smooth. Oh, and you just even just sat here now, you can feel that V8. The car behind got me too close there, and the sensors had to go in it. Oh, we're now showing 0 miles per gallon. As we pull away from a roundabout, 0 miles per gallon. Wow, this car is something special. It really is. If you hear a crinkling noise, it's just the sort of matte protectors that Keith Price put in their sort of prepped cars to preserve the mats, because obviously these mats are very special, as I showed you. The fact that you've got sort of nice thick lamb's wool mats, it's just epic. This really was, like I said, Volvo doing everything they could to prove a point, to show you that they're one of the best car makers in the world. You know, for the royal family, for celebrities. It's just, and it's from a time as well where car manufacturers had the right to build excellent engines. They put V8s in saloon cars, they put V10s in super estate cars. You know, it was normal. And really, I think it was probably the golden age of automotive engineering. I was probably in my teens at this time, and you know, just seeing these cars coming out with twin turbo V10s and that sort of stuff, it's what makes you go crazy about cars. I struggle to get excited about new cars now, which is sad, but it really does. This sort of car is what made me fall in love with cars, and it reminds me why I love cars. It really does. It's just how smooth it is as well. Everything's nicely damped, but you've got feel. There's a bit of resistance in the steering wheel, so you can manage the steering, and it's just, oh, what a car! What a car! Now, I recently watched a video of a chap who bought one of these for £4,400. I think for that money, you're insane not to buy it. It is just, it's a work of art. I would quite happily have my D5 and this car. Obviously budgets permitting and Mrs. DL permitting. Yeah, I would quite happily have 2 S80s. And this one would be saved for the weekend. It would be washed every time it was used, and it would just be preserved as it deserves to be. And the D5 would be my daily. Let's just... And that was 60 just like that. From 30. Okay then guys, so I brought you back to Keith Price just to give you my final thoughts. I thought it'd be quite fun to get the two S80s, obviously this being my one and this being the V8. Now, obviously you can see that one is far better looked after than my one is. Mine's now on 128,000 miles, and there is a big difference. This car, obviously being such low mileage, still feels like a new car, and it's lovely to feel what an S80 should feel like, what they felt like from the factory. This car really is just incredible in every way. The noise, the theatre of it all, the look of it. I love those turbine wheels. It does actually seem a slightly lighter colour, lighter shade of grey to my S80. I did think they were the same, but I think actually they're a slightly different shade. But everything to do with this car is just fantastically done. The xenon headlights are lovely. Obviously the V8 is just steals the show, but also the fact that it's the executive trim as well. I mean, this interior really is just gorgeous. You've got, like I said, the wood on the steering wheel, 3-panelled leather seats, the lamb's wool. Everything about this thing just feels regal and sumptuous, and just, it makes you feel like you're driving, well, you are driving a luxury car, but it makes you feel like you deserve to be driving it. It really is an absolute joy to drive. Now, would I be able to stomach £700 of tax and 15 mpg? You know what? I'd consider it. Like I said, I would absolutely not hesitate to have these two in my garage. Two S80s, one for the weekends, one for the daily grind. And now I sort of need to make sure I get this one washed today, don't I, with the state of it. But yeah, everything about this car. You've got the lovely S80 executive badges there. It is just a work of art. You can tell why the Swedish royal family have been driving these for ages, because they're just built to a standard, and it's a standard that obviously carries through to my D5 as well, despite not being the full executive package. It's still a lovely car to be in, and I really do think these S80s are becoming special, more and more special. They're a car that we just can't get anymore. If you want a big comfortable car that's reliable, do spaceship miles, and then just look good while doing it, you really can't go wrong. And I think this ultimate S80, being the 4.4 litre V8, it's going to be a modern classic. There's no doubts about it. I mean, they've started to go up in value now. Now is the time to buy one of these before they get silly money, because I can see these going over £20,000-30,000 within the next 5 years. They really are just magical, and like I said, you just can't get a car like this nowadays. It really is impressive, and everything down to the key on this one is just as it left the factory almost. You could tell me, you could put 0 miles on the odometer and tell me that this car was new, and you know what, I'd have a hard time proving you wrong with the condition of this thing. So well done to the previous owner, well done to Keith Price as well, Keith Price Garages, for bringing it up to such a standard. Like I said, it was £13,500 this was advertised, which may seem a lot, but when you look at the condition, the mileage and the rarity of this car, this is an absolute steal for 13 grand. It really, really is. So a big thank you to Keith Price Volvo. If you're in the market for a new or used Volvo, as you can see, there's plenty to choose from here, apart from this one that's sold, and my one. They really are the people to come to, and thanks again to them for making this video possible. And thank you to my subscriber William as well, who put me onto this car, because although I do spend all of my free time scrolling through Auto Trader looking at S80s and other Volvos, I hadn't spotted this one come up for sale, and I managed to beat Adrian to it in getting in touch about it. So yeah, without further ado, let's lock her up, give back the keys, Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Cheers.